thank you, Upamanyu. I think this is a very wonderful platform which is provided by CARGOCONNECT. I think this is the opportunity for all the pharma companies and their professionals come together and interact with their ideas, exchange the knowledge and learnings is also very good at this moment. I am Mandar Kulkarni. I look after the domestic logistics for warehousing and logistics for Sun Pharma. And I look after the only domestic part as such. I request all the panel members to introduce themselves in a very short span. So I'll start from Mr. Lalit. You can introduce, and up to Ashu, we can just introduce yourself, your name, your company, and how many years you have worked together.
So I am Lalit Patil. I am from 𝐓𝐞𝐦𝐩𝐞𝐫𝐚𝐬𝐬𝐷 Healthcare Private Limited, just 5 months old company in India. It's a startup company. I work in various companies, Sanofi, Roche, like that companies.
So
and here
take closer to this.
Yeah. And here I take care of all India supply chain. So it's all. Over to you.
Good evening all. Myself is Vishakha Falak, heading the supply chain in Surya Group of Hospital. I have total 2.6 decades experience in supply chain procurement. I am working in various hospitals like Fortis, Raheja, Jaslok and Hinduja. That's it.
Hi, my name is Arun Khedwal. I work for a company called Fermenta Biotech. I have total 21 years of experience in pharma supply chain.
Thank you, Arun.
Yeah, good evening everyone. I am Rajesh Srivastava with almost 3.5 decades of working experience, and of that 22 years I have been working with Lupin, heading their indirect procurement for all their India sites. Thank you.
Hi everyone, this is Manoj Nolakha. I am with Johnson & Johnson from last 10 years. I have total experience of 15 years in various domains of supply chain. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Ashu Gupta. I'm heading supply chain for Koi Pharmaceuticals. I have experience of about 37 years in pharma. Thank you.
Thank you all. I think this is a great introduction by all in a short span. So if you, all friends, you know that any FMCG or pharma company, if you compare, you will find a distribution network, like, there are large number of SKUs, like 4,000, 5,000 SKUs. There are a couple of factories, like 20 or 40. We have got certain RDCs, central warehouse of say 4 to 5. Then we have state-wise depots and CFAs, wherein almost 40-50 depots we have, and through which the material, the finished goods flows right from the plant to the distributors and retailers and the open market. So this is how the normally FMCG or even pharma companies, they work in the almost in a similar fashion. But then there is a real distinction in case of pharma than FMCG is that we have a temperature controlled supply chain and logistics, and also we have basically expiry of the products, which is very important from the control point of view. Also, our products are getting consumed by the humans. So these are three distinct differentiation between any FMCG and pharma company. So if you see the pharma companies, they are consistently growing even in COVID disruptions and these things. So almost the companies are touching to double-digit growth. And similarly, if you see cold chain market, I mean, it's a pharma global market is almost $15 billion last year, and it is expected to grow up to $30 billion in 2030. So there is if you see, there is a significant growth which is expected in pharma, and so the exports are also growing. So if you see this cold chain, really speaking, there are a lot of activities involved in the cold chain, right from the finished goods manufacturing, storage, then it comes to warehouse. You have to keep store the material, loading, unloading, then transportation, deliveries to the CFAs, then it goes to distributor, retailer. So there are many activities which are involved, and there is a possibility of risk at any activity, that it might lead to temperature escalation, and obviously it might lead to potency loss or integrity loss, and obviously that it will affect the brand image of the company, right? So while doing this, while domestic also, their exports are also growing. So I, straight to the question I would like to ask Mr. Arun, that see, all these costs which are basically attached to all these elements where the risk is involved, how the pharma companies are basically maintaining and balancing their export competitiveness while all these costs which are able to, you need to manage, and at the same time you have to really see the quality of the delivery which is maintained. So Arun, can you please throw some light on this?
Yeah, thank you, Mandar. Very nice question. So I will take you slightly back, 10 to 12 years back, when we did our first export shipment under temperature control logistics. So we ended up with the complaint of excursion. Then we provided kappa and all those things. Then what we did, our internal team has done over-engineering, and then again we did the second shipment. We ended up at incursion. So from these two experiments, we had an internal discussion and deliberation. You know, pharma, there has to be a lot of discussion and deliberation in case any complaint comes. So we came up with a solution that cold chain packaging require 3 P's actually. The first P is people, the second P is process, and the third P is packaging. The next thing is as a pharma company, you should focus on your business. Let the professional, let the third-party logistic company handle your shipment, because they can perform this very well. And make them accountable. When you are handing over a shipment to them, you can make them accountable so that they can handle your shipment very well. Then while nominating any agent, you have to make sure that agent is a GDP certified LSP, so that your shipment is in safe hands. Then how we save cost, basically whenever we get any customer inquiry for cold chain shipment, what we do, we normally give a lead time in such a way that shipment happen during month end. So what we do consolidation of all cold chain shipment. Majority of our cold chain shipments are under 2 to 8 degree. So we consolidate all shipment, and then they are moved from our factory to the airport. Then the second level of saving happens at the agent end, where the entire basket of shipment is nominated to the GDP certified agent, who is going to execute the entire end-to-end cold chain shipment. Then we perform a thorough checklist. The proper SOPs are in place actually. Then coming back from volume to value, what I understand, Sun Pharma does one cold chain shipment which has value of around 720 crore. Maybe Mandar can throw some light on that shipment. So when you are handling such a big export shipment, then there has to be multiple checks at multiple levels. Then shipment has to be escorted by a separate team who will monitor temperature at say after every 200 kilometer, because any failure may lead to a loss in that quarter actually. So looking at the cost, the question which Mandar has asked me, so the cold chain cost looks very high on an Excel sheet or on a RFQ template. But if you compare that cost with the failure rate, then the failure cost will not fit in your Excel sheet. So that was my point on the question which was raised.
Yeah, thank you, Arun. I think you touched some specific aspects like people, packaging. Then you said about 3PL ownership, and obviously responsibility has to be given. And those 3PL should be LSP, should be GDP certified. So that will be a sort of assurance that they will be handling the consignments in a safe and effective manner. And you also talked about the consolidation of 2 to 8 degree kind of shipments, so that your cost per shipper will get reduced. Obviously, the higher the export in one shot is always going to give you the cost reduction benefit. Thank you for that. My next question is about the cost pressure and export viability and domestic viability. If there are many products, finished products of medicines which the prices are controlled by the NLEM or NPPA. So these are the products, the rates and pricings, they are controlled by the government. So I would like to ask Ashu the question about the, in domestic challenges, such NLM or the rate changing practices, how they are, these controls, how they impact the investments in the temperature control logistics and related, related activities as such.
Yeah. Before I answer this question, I would just like to talk briefly about how does NLEM fix the prices. So I think maybe very long back, the pricing was fixed based on the manufacturing cost. But under the current DPCO, how does NPPA fix prices? It gathers data from the market of the top brands which hold a market share of more than 1% and the price to retailer. The PTR of all brands holding more than 1% market share is gathered, and an average of the selling price of all these brands is taken as your ceiling price. On that, there's a margin which is added, the retailer's margin, which is 16%, and there arrives the ceiling price, over and above which the company can only add GST. Now, a bit of flaw in this pricing is one, that it doesn't consider the manufacturing cost at all. It goes by the selling price. Now, selling price actually may not be related to the manufacturing cost. The same formulation, somebody may be importing, which may be at a higher price, and a local manufacturer may be making it at a lower price. But they both have to abide by a same ceiling price. So that definitely causes pressure on the margin. Then also the retailer margin of 16%. Now under the trade, everybody takes 20%. So here itself, the pricing that comes to you is lower than what you would expect. Now, does the NLEM pricing affect your 2 to 8 degree or cold chain movement or your infra or the supply chain? I would say indirectly, yes, both positively and negatively. So if you talk about the negatives, yes, so first is there's a pressure on the margin because you are controlled by a particular ceiling price which is dependent on the selling price, which does not account for your cost. Also, there is no ceiling price on the API. So while there's a ceiling price on your selling price, but the APIs are not regulated. So it's often seen, and we have personally experienced that, though of course not for a cold chain product, for a non-cold chain product, the API prices went through the roof during COVID, but the ceiling prices were not pricing correspondingly. And the ceiling price is dependent on the wholesale price index, which sometimes is not even 1%, but you have packaging cost, your API costs, which are often rising much more than 10%. So what do? Do you change something in your cold chain infra? Frankly, no. Do you not keep your products properly? No, you cannot do that. Yes, the cold chain infra is definitely costlier than the infra of a regular product. You have to invest in a cold room or vesicular or whatever. You have to have a logistics vehicles which are monitoring a temperature of 2 to 8 degree or whatever the product may be needing. So you cannot compromise on these. So you have to maintain that, so the net impact would be that your margins may reduce. But at the same time, it also encourages the marketer or the manufacturer to be more cost effective. So to look at options, whether you can make your product at the lowest, best price without compromising on the quality of the product. How best can you optimize, I wouldn't say reduce, how best you can optimize your warehousing and logistic cost. Also, sometimes negatively, it could impact the company's decision to market such a product. So there could be instances where the company, when it finds that there is immense pressure on the margin, it becomes unviable to even market such a product, and the company may not want to be in such a product. And this has been an experience with us. We had a product which was a brand that we had where the GC was barely just not even, it wasn't zero, but barely anything. But because of the NLEM pricing and the WPI, which was not moving beyond a couple of %, ultimately we were ending up in a negative GC every time. So finally, we sold that product off because we couldn't handle it independently at the price at which it was coming. And we had purchased the brand from another MNC who had sold it off for the same reason. So this is one of the negative impacts that NLEM can cause. But on a positive side, it does encourage us to be more efficient in our supply chain. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Ashu. I would like to pass same question to Manoj. Manoj, if you can add some more things into the same question. In fact.
Sure. So I think Ashu very well explained about the NLEM. The another regulation which possibly have a cost pressure or the move these investment significantly is the draft GDP guideline. So I think from last one and a half year, most of us are deliberating on that how it is going to change the investment and the cost structure that we have currently. So from my understanding, from my reading of this guidelines, I feel there are three big areas which can influence these parameters. So first is about the 15 to 25 degree temperature products. While there are many companies who are strictly following the compliance of not only storing this product into the label claim, but also while transit also ensuring that these products remain in this temperature control condition. But there are many players who are still reading this temperature condition as an ambient temperature condition, right? And without any active or passive solution, these products are being transported. But if this guideline becomes a mandatory regulation, ultimately the cost pressure would come to the 3PL transport partner and would be cascaded to the manufacturers. And eventually it will go to the patients, right? So there we need to see that these are the products which are very high volume, low value products, traveling far hinterlands of the geography, and most of the time going into part loads also. So how do we ensure that we remain into this temperature condition for such products is going to be a tricky one. The second thing is about the strong oversight in terms of the EHS quality that we have. So most of us, we don't have our own warehouses, right? We rely on the 3PL partners. So kind of the management review that you do internally, the guideline says that the same level of the governance you should have with your 3PL partners, you should have with your transporters, right? What does it mean? It means that your now 3PL would have to put more people to manage your operations, right? They need to invest more time. And in order for them to do that, it will of course cost them a money, which will again come to you. And the lastly, which are very technical points, wherein the guideline talks about the hygiene factor. I mean, it talks about the dedicated vehicles for pharmaceutical movement, the cleaning schedule, to the point wherein they are also mandating that what kind of reagents or solutions you are using for cleaning your vehicles. So if you go to that level of scrutiny, it will eventually build over cost pressure, which will come to the company and will go to the patients. So these are some aspects that would be interesting and tricky one for industry to deal with.
Yeah, thank you. I think both of you have added some important points, like Ashu added about the 1%, from where the products are decided by the government. I think you added about the 15-25 degree. The storage might happen in 15-25 degree, but the transportation might not happen in 15-25 degree, and it happens in ambient as well as in PTL shipments. So how do we try to control them? So those comes under cool room and cool transits. Normally we call cold chain for 2 to 8 degree, but yeah, I think this point is also very important. Finally, there are many products which are which are getting migrated from ambient to 15, 25 or less than 20, 30 degree products. So in future also there will be lot many products which will be coming in the same category. Thank you for that. And you talked about EHS and hygiene part also. Thanks, Vikas. My next question will be to Vishakha. So Vishakha basically she is working in Surya Hospital. So we know about the cold chain logistics outside, in our warehouses and CFAs and all. So we would like to know, Vishakha, how actually the cold chain is managed within hospitals. What kind of cares, controls has been taken inside the hospital when the supply is given to the hospital.
Thanks to PharmaConnect to giving this opportunity as a panel discussion. Beside from the retail pharma, in hospital industry, cold chain is a critical part. We have to maintain the so many rules and regulations under the regulatory conditions, regulatory compliance, and it's come under the critical scenario. We have to maintain proper room temperature. We have to provide the standardized refrigerator, ice control temperatures monitor, refrigerator. Apart from that, some of the products we have to maintain -20 to -80 degree temperature for some biological products. Vaccines to be stored between 2 to 8 degree temperature. Material received from distributor to the pharmacy and to the hospital. We have to monitor, trace the different stage. For that, we have to train the staff from each, starting from the security entry, then the receiving point, then the pharmacies, then the nursing, then the doctors, and then the administration. So there are various steps we have to involve and various people we have to involve. We have to train them according to them. We have continuously give the training to the staffs also, how to maintain the cold chain temperature. There are backup is also available whenever there is some electricity shutdown is there. So UPS and others documentation like we can say the calibration of the fridge temperature thermometer, we have to also monitor as a quality assurance point of view. We have to train the staff. Then some trigger point of cold chain, if automated alert systems also we have to monitor. We have to train them accordingly. Some of the sometimes the temperature goes beyond the temperature, then we have to automated alert system. So staff must be know how to activate that and how to provide that. We should provide the extra refrigerator also if some pandemic situation is also there. So also we should must know about the how to dispose the medicines also. Like in the fridge, we have to keep the medicines in the, like we can take an example of the vaccines. So vaccines we can keep upper level of the fridge. So below the refrigerator, the tray is there. There we can keep the vaccines. Apart from that trays, we can keep the other molecules like onco medication, other cold chain storage. The base set, last side of the freezer, we can keep the bulk storage of the. Never keep the any cold chain medicine door vaccines in the doors, because their 2 to 8 degree temperature is not maintained. So the quality and the integrity part of the vaccinations and other cold products, we have to maintain the processory documentation also we have to maintain. We need to follow the guidelines of the FDA, WHO and National Essential Drug List also. According to how we have to maintain and added in the standard operating procedure also. We need to maintain the clinical audit trials also, so that we can come to know where we are comply. So these are the mandatory parameters we need to follow in the hospital industry to maintain the cold chain storage.
Yeah, thanks, Vishaka. I think you spoke about the regulatory compliance, then you talked about what kind of equipments you keep, like refrigerators, ice temperatures, -20 degree vaccines and all. Then you said about do's and don'ts, what are which needs to be followed at the hospital so that the integrity of the product is maintained. You talked about the monitoring mechanism and quality assurance and documentation part. That's great. I mean, that's good to know from this. My next question would be to Mr. Rajesh Srivastav. So this question is basically, I would like to ask, how critical is true real-time tracking beyond periodic data logging in addressing quality deviations, recalls, and customer confidence in temperature-sensitive pharma shipments. So, request you to throw some light on this question.
Thank you for the question. I think real-time visibility is now the key. The days are over where you could get a data logger, put it into your PC, get a report out, and then the havoc starts running. That okay, this excursion happened X place or at a Y place. But I think largely talking to people and the experience from the industry is, you may not see many instances of temperature excursions while in transit as compared to when there is a handing or taking over. Maybe at a port, whether it is origin port or at a destination port, or in between when there is goods move, truck is changing, you transshipments. Now those are the places where one would say a hands-off approach. I have done my job, I delivered it this place, now it is somebody else's baby. Now in this kind of scenarios which we all have faced at some point or the other in our careers, I think a control tower or a dashboard or a war room kind of a thing, adjectives you can use as many, but that is something which is now going to be more critical going forward. Fellow panelists have already said more goods are moving under 228 because the ambient temperature definition has changed. 20 years back, what was ambient today is no longer ambient. Or for that matter, ambient in Mumbai will go up to 40 degrees. What do you do about it? Whereas ambient in Himachal would be 10 degrees centigrade. So we have to move on to scientific-based, logical solution which creates a dashboard. And I think the 4 key pillars in a control tower or a live dashboard would be, it will give you an end-to-end visibility where your cargo is. It may not be a minute-to-minute, but at least whatever definition of time you may put, maybe 5 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, but it has to be an end-to-end visibility. Second is that this kind of dashboard or a control tower will enable you to take exception-based actions or actionable intelligence it will give. You have 10 shipments, or if you look at a 3PL service provider, they may have hundreds of shipments moving. But their dashboard should tell them, okay, which 2 shipments or which 1 shipment is most likely to go wrong or is most likely to have a problem. It is, see, once an exertion has happened, you can't do anything about it. The question is, can you have an alert which is say 15 minutes, 30 minutes in advance so that you have actionable intelligence to do something about it. It's a different matter whether you are able to do it or not, but at least it will help you become prepared for the next time. That event will not happen. And these days with, like people were talking about data, there is plethora of data, but do we have actionable intelligence out of it? Is that the question? So I think a well-structured control tower or a dashboard will tell you this is where you need to put your attention and move ahead. Third and important point is, as soon as you start putting or creating a centralized dashboard or a control tower, your data integrity as well as compliance automatically will go up. You will have placeholders. Okay, you should be putting here this. You should capture this data from, let's say, shelf life. Right from the origin, if you know the shelf life is beyond the prescribed by the regulators in the importing country, you can take action, stop it, or vice versa. So it is something as mundane which may be overlooked by human, can be left to the machines to do it, and with this AI and the ML, I think the dashboards or the control tower will become more and more intelligence to ensure data integrity and compliance. Lastly, of course, comes the security part, which I think the track and trace, and now the US is coming up with another version and further upgrade in the track and trace regime. I think the supply chain security is also of paramount importance, so that what product leaves from your factory reaches to your customer in the right manner, in the right form, and it does not create any adverse report when the patient consumes it. To just conclude, I think we have to have these kind of dashboards which are also interconnected. It should not be that we are spending time in interconnecting of data points from the government authorities or from the 3PL or the logistics service providers. So the industry, specifically in the cold chain industry, has to evolve, because these are the goods which are going to be affected much more than, let's say, goods which do not need temperature control. You have to, industry should come together, make a standard so that everyone hooks on to that, and you get really a good data visibility and change the whole outlook from being reactive to being proactive. So I think these are the points which are the need of the hour, and real-time visibility on a dashboard or on a control tower will certainly help mitigate a lot of risk or sort of eliminate a lot of challenges which we face today. Thank you.
Yes, rightly said, Rajesh. I think you said that actually rather than in transit, during handling the excursion happens more in different interfaces, and where is the main concern is. I have also I have one understanding that Marx is having a remote container management (RCM), wherein there are sensors are placed, and sensors are like GPS. Basically, it will give you the tracking of the vehicle, the tracking of the container shipments and all where it is. And also it is having the Captain Peter visibility, which is CPV web-based portal, customer-facing for portal which is having. Basically, it gives you the condition of the shipment, like what is the temperature it is carrying at, what is the humidity, what is the air humidity, and other things like there's 3-4 parameters which gives you continuously. It will feed you the customer where the consignment is and in what condition it is carrying. So that is one of the updates. I would like to go to now Mr. Lalit. Lalit Patil, I think you are can you just let me know what are the innovations in packaging for the cold chain shipments which are currently or maybe in futuristically it will get innovated, so that the cost obviously it is sustainability and safe and cost effective is all three are the important parameters. So can you just have more information on this?
So I will talk about I will just throw some light on the packaging of the cold chain products. As on date, we get new products or we have cold chain products. We don't go through or we don't educate our partners on the MSDS, that is a material safety data sheet. In that material safety data sheet, we find all the parameters like storage condition, transportation, logistic, and then the validity of that product, the control, temperature control, life of that product. Everything we get. And MSDS is approved by IATA. Like whenever the IATA approves the MSDS, they take all scientific data from the company. And we don't go in that much, like Arun sir also added in that. Like now if we explore the trainings to our partners, or we can educate them through the checklist. And as on date, if we provide that checklist or our MSDs to our partner may come up with any innovative packaging. Like as on date, lots of vendors are there from the packaging front. But the major challenge is everyone uses the thermocol box. But as on that, thermocol box is also as per the Environment Department, Government of India, they may ban in coming years of time. So here the cost impact will be there, as supply chain and packaging cost will be increased. Our partner cost, handling partner cost will be also increased, as thermocol nowadays gives us lots of flexibility from the small size to big size. And then again the density of thermocol size we can increase, decrease. But the coming to the cost aspect, as on that whoever is coming with innovative packaging, their cost is huge. So that may be a big challenge in future. I request Mandar, you can add something on this, or Ashu madam.
I'd like to add something. So I think there's a bit of difference when we talk of exports and domestic shipments. For exports, there's a lot of flexibility in using different kind of packaging material. Your value of the consignment is huge, and there are a lot of options. For example, you can use thermal blankets on your pallet. For your domestic shipments, especially if you have smalls, then it becomes a major challenge as to how do you, package. So while EPS and thermocol boxes are the easiest, but as we said, going ahead with the ban on thermocol boxes, what is the way out? And that's going to be a major challenge because all the options, the new options are very expensive. For example, if you look at, there is something called liners. So these liners, you can line your shipper, and whereby these liners give you the temperature, desired temperature, and they can take the shape of your shipper. So you don't need to, intentionally use a bigger shipper or a smaller EPS. You can use a shipper what you want to. You can package your product in the shipper whichever you desire, which is right for the product. And you can use a liner. But I think these will take time, and of course the challenge on the cost, because every product cannot absorb the cost of packaging. There are products which are very expensive. So while you have oncology products, which maybe a single unit is lakh of rupees or 50,000, at the same time there are vaccines, some of them are very cheap. We have some hormonal injections maybe costing just 100, 200 bucks. For that, how do I use such an expensive packaging material? And will the government support me by providing some subsidy on the packaging? Because in every organization, supply chain is an area where there's maximum cost pressure. So I think this is a challenge for everyone to work together, be it the government, be it the 3PL partners, and be it the organization, to find out suitable solutions for packaging in the future.
Yeah, thanks, Ashu. My next question comes to Mr. Arun, I think, regarding the export-related point. So this is, Arun, just wanted to ask you, how can control towers and centralized oversight help organizations respond faster to quality risk while ensuring security and compliance across the borders?
Thank you, Mandar. So while studying this topic of central tower, I have studied many examples starting from insulin distribution, cold drink distribution, then blood sample distribution, vaccine distribution. Across industry, I have seen many examples. The one case which surprised me is the case of Amul. Actually, it is a cross sector example basically. So in case of Amul, they pick milk from milk producer under cold chain. The entire inbound and outbound logistics involve end-to-end cold chain and at various different temperatures. So they collect milk under cold chain, then the milk is processed, and then the milk product, then the co-product, then the byproduct, each one is distributed at a different temperature. So they handle the most complex, a central tower. And how central tower can help actually in case of any incursion, any excursion, the central tower team can directly get in touch with the logistics service provider, the shipping line, the airline, or the internal, you have to inform the internal quality team, because at the end they are going to prepare the CAPA and response to customer. So central tower team can play a crucial role to them. They can also notify to customer that is there. In case of any flight delay, they can get in touch with the destination. Then in case of, our one of the factories located in northern part of India, into the Himalayas actually. So there is lot of challenge to send cold chain vehicle. So in case any breakdown, the cold chain truck vehicle, they have tie up with petrol pumps actually. So they can dock their vehicle to the nearest petrol pump, and they can start the cold chain chilling again actually. So this is how the central tower can play an important role. Few more points. One is last year there was extended monsoon which has impacted lot of shipments actually in the northern part of India. So central tower can play important role in such situation. We can keep customers. So few of our shipments were stuck in traffic for 5 to 6 days. There was no update what to inform to customer, what to inform to the internal customer. So in that case, central tower plays important role. Then if you have any import shipment, temperature controlled import shipment, in that case, if there is a delay from any PGA or any custom authority, then the central tower can keep internal external team informed actually. So looking at all those perspective, central tower plays a very important role across all industries, and it will definitely help the internal and external customer.
Yeah, if I may just add
Rajesh, sure.
very quickly a small. See, every one of us must have given diagnostic samples from the convenience of our homes. How many of you really realize that more than 60% of the samples go bad by the time they are tested because there is enough and more of temperature excursion happening? So I can tell of a diagnostic chain where what they have done is they have created this central dashboard, and the runners, the guys who collect your samples, after your phlebo has taken the sample given to a collection center, now all these guys have this temperature control to a central monitoring desk, and now they have evolved it to the next level that as soon as the temperature starts going ahead with in the box of the runner or the courier, the system automatically dials into his mobile phone that you have to respond. And there is an auto, and it connects it to the other end, to the supervisor or the guy. So you don't even need to do manually an action.
So it's a kind of router system.
It's immediately. So all these guys, they have their mobile phone in front of their vehicles, seeing it, alarm pops up. If he does not respond, there is a call happens. So I think this is how things in many industries are evolving, and maybe at some stage, this part of the business will also evolve.
Yeah. I think we also at Sun Pharma, we are basically in the morning session, Churchill had said that we are also implementing Pando system. So we'll be having SIM-based tracking as well as control towers, which will help us in tracking the shipments. So overall, in ambient 15-25 or 2 to 8 degrees, we'll have different kind of colors in the dashboard reports and system, wherein we can really point out which are the red shipments which are under 2 to 8 degrees. So it will also give in warehouses also, in wherever we have the 2 to 8 degree, if it is a temperature is getting more than say 8 degree or 9 degree, then hooter will basically it will signal and it will come on the mobile. So that kind of system development also we are doing at Sun Pharma. My next question would be to Vishakha and Lalit again. This is basically, see, quality transportation is always required, and it is getting right. It is globally. It has been required for the the right delivery of the medicines and all. So what kind of how it will differentiate the pharma companies from any other industry to have this to build a resilient and future-ready temperature controlled supply chain. So Vishakha and Manoj, you can in this little span of time, I think quickly you can respond.
So, pharma company simply comply the minimum standard end-to-end visibility, then data-driven end-to-end. For that, we can use the RFID data control sheets that we can monitor the product assurance, make sure that the product quality will be not hamper to reach to the patient in end of the user level. You can use the RFID trackers for that also. Again, you can integrate the AI generation with advanced technology, so that we can monitor the data sheet from start to the factory level to the user level. Then we can coordinate with the integrated smart system with the advanced technology. So these are the technology we can use to integrate the systems.
Yeah, Manoj. Yeah, Lalit, you want to add anything?
Yes, yes. What I will add here, as on date, the transporters or whichever our vendor is there for our cold chain products, considering the volume of cold chain products, many companies don't have that much cold chain products volume. So because of this reason, there are lots of challenges are there. So considering these challenges, nowadays, lots of vendors are started the sharing shipment in one vehicle. Means one transporter can take one vehicle by including the 10 companies small shipments. So this kind of process is now started. But by adding that, the transporter, I will add one more thing here. The transporter, the validation process should be start. Like I said, the MS days is there. So we know our product packaging, transportation, storage condition. From that point of view, if we share with our vendor our validation sheet, or if we visit to their warehouse, or if we visit to their godown also, and see how, if they taken our product from our warehouse, so how they will do further transportation, where they will keep that product. So like this validation, if we start, considering the other industries, they have huge volumes. As pharma cold chain products, we don't have that much volumes. So these are the challenges. So thank you. Yes.
Yeah. Last question to Manoj. Basically, what about the sustainability in packaging, recycling, or you can say green logistics and all? If you can add some value, what are the new features, new things which are coming up?
Yeah, so I think the previous panel had deliberated it very beautifully on the green logistics solution. Probably my answer, I would limit it to the packaging solutions. And there are two aspects to it: what can internally be done, and what can, where you need the support from external partners. So one thing that we have noticed is how can you design your packaging solution appropriately basis the load that you have. So there are standard size of boxes like 10 liter, 20 liters. Now on, there are small sizes boxes of 1 liter and 3 liters are also available. But what we felt important is how can you remove a factor of decision fatigue. So I have put in all these boxes to my warehouse people, but I am not empowering them to take a decision, okay, for this load you need to use this box, and for this load you need to use a bigger box. So I am leaving it to their judgment, and most of the time they end up using the bigger box, which is, counter sustainable approach to it. So that's where we need to think upon putting up a process to reduce this decision fatigue. The second one is the recycle and reusage. So this cannot only be done internally. I mean, you need support from your customers that they should be okay to send back those shipments. You should have good logistic partners who can able to bring them back. And internally also, you should have a good system to recycle and reuse these boxes. And you can only use them as long as their return logistic cost is not surpassing the cost of buying the new boxes, right? So that's where probably the challenges lie. We are also, putting a lot of effort in from last 1 year on this, but the success rate for us is less than 30% of this. And the lastly is the shared services. So theoretically, while there are business partners available who are offering this solution, I am yet to find a good quality and the cost appropriate solution provider who can provide this shared services of cold chain boxes, right? And I don't need to invest my time, energy and effort to manage my cold chain shipments. So these sort of solution provider will also evolve with the time, and it'll be helpful in managing our solutions sustainability perspective. And lastly, which is a very interesting one, is how can you educate your customers? So we analyze this data, and while these things are very common in FMCG and e-com, in pharma we realize that most of our customer placing orders 3 times a day, 10 times a week, right? And just because no one has have asked them. So we educated them, sir, if you can consolidate your order, you are doing good for yourself, you are doing good for us, and you are doing good for nature also, right? Simply by educating our customer, we could able to reduce our cold chain boxes by 30%. So sometimes this situational, common sense also helps you improve on this sustainable initiatives.
Yeah, thank you, Manoj. Just to add into this, Sun Pharma is having all our internal sustainability, like, right, for example, expired products and medicines, we crush it and we use it as a fuel to the cement industries. So we do the water harvesting also. We have solar systems so that we can convert those into the green energy. We are planning to make carbon free, say 35% carbon free by 2030, and maybe full 100% carbon free by 2047. So those kind of 3-4 sustainable initiatives companies are, different companies are taking up. So to sum up this session, I wanted to tell you that, as such, pharma companies are growing, and basically it is important to have time to assess whether the disruption is then, how you assess the disruption, time to supply, how you supply the products after recovering from the disruption. Obviously, time to recover is important, and time to market. These are the 4 times which are very important in any kind of FMCG or even our kind of industry. So to sum up again, the reliability, consistency, effective communication, online tracking, trace and track, and compliance these are the 6-7 pillars of any industry, and probably pharmaceutical industry is looking ahead, so that it grows consistently and it gives the cold chain or any kind of deliveries in a safe and mercantile manner to the human consumption. So I think I'm just thank you all for this. I'm just ending this discussion right now. So anybody has any questions, please do ask.
Hi. So my question is around, so when you talk about cold chain logistics and distribution, right? One of the new things in India right now is e-pharmacies. And they are spreading everywhere, right? And more depots, more and more cities. So the question is, we control everything in our hands, and then it goes to that dark store. And then goes to that boy who picks it up on the two-wheeler and gets it to our house. So is there something which we can do to control it? How do we manage it? Or is it just a lost cause?
I'll try and say something on this. Frankly, as we said, that, sitting in our offices, we are able to control the primary logistics and the secondary logistics. And very often we lose sight of the last mile delivery. Not only us, the government too. So we talk about the GDP, the distribution practices, or even we look at, okay, see our warehouse, we are 228, so there's real-time tracking of the warehouse vehicle. We're only tracking the primary movements. Possibly, many of us are not even tracking from our redistribution point, or the CFA as we call them, to our stockist. I think very few MNCs are doing that. Again, the question of cost. At the stockist point itself, frankly, there is not much control. And when we come to the retailer, practically we lose control of it. And when we look at India and its infra, where we know that our towns and villages go without power for a long period of time, frankly, I think it's all humbug when we all say, there is real-time tracking. Frankly, there is nothing. Yes, we have to educate. We have to keep on educating, which is a continuous process. In one of my organizations, I'll not take a name, where I was working, it was into insulin. One of the Indian companies who was early pioneer in insulin. And the patient was not educated enough to know that the insulin needed to be kept in 2 to 8. So insulin was kept in a normal ambient condition out of the fridge. And there was a problem. The product didn't work. It lost its efficacy. It went to a big legal case. It went to the forum, and there was a chaos. It was a big legal issue. Just because the patient did not know, as to how to maintain the storage condition. Because the storage conditions are often so tiny that they cannot be read. So I always talk of we need to educate, whether it's the 3PL, whether it's a stockist, whether it's a retailer, whether it's a patient. Because even if we educate up till the chemist, I've seen most of the patients are actually unaware of how to handle a 2 to 8 degree medicine. Thank you.
In one of the example, I would say, there is in hyphen and dash also makes lot of, sometime, there was a requirement, I'm just, for some industry, I heard from someone, the indent was given for some temperature control logistics. He had maintained temperature condition, dash, 20 degree. And that guy understood it is minus 20 degree. So he has frozen all the medicines and he transported. And finally all got rejected because basically it was plus 20 degree.
No,
so now,
I've had this experience.
So later on, the indent was changed and then they started in bracket PLUS plus and signature, this thing, so kind of thing. So this such kind of small things, unawareness and this thing, this might lead to completely that medicine was frozen and it has got rejected.
No, I've had experience on insulins that I, in fact, told someone to keep the insulins in the fridge. So when I say a fridge, I mean the normal shelf. For most of the people, a fridge, and they look at the medicine, it went into the freezer. 10,000 worth of insulin, I personally had to throw the dustbin because then I realized that it was probably my fault. I had not explained enough that don't keep in the freezer. Fridge means fridge. So, in fact, we have stickers on our shippers for cold chain that store in 2 to 8 because many stockists, some of our, our distributors I have seen, even though they have received the product in 2 to 8, yet they have returned it in ambient condition and we have to discard the product. So I think education at each leg of the supply chain goes a long way.
I will just throw some light on this. I have experience with XYZ e-pharmacy players. So I gone there for the audit before appointing them as a distributor. For in our pharmaceutical systems, every company, we consider e-pharmacy as a distributor only, right? So from that point of view, we may have to increase clauses in our agreements also, right? And our proper visit to their storage location. The one of learning was that the e-pharmacy was purchasing our products and they were keeping with third party. Again, they have appointed third party. So that clause was not there in our agreement. So it was a deviation in our agreement. So we have not appointed them till they have implemented their facility. So like that we can do, it may work. Yeah.
So I have a small question to ask. This has been related to the pharma supply chain, what you have been talking about. Pharma being such a compliant industry, what we talk about, there has been close to 360 product, what Ashu Madam told that there has been into NLEM. There has been what you talked about is about the cleaning validation. There has been more than 960 products which has been there in the DPCO. So what we have been talking about, when pharma has been so compliant, there has been a cost structure where you have got a lot of pressure, where your margins needs to be built in. But in spite of that, every year you are taking a 10% price increase, whether it is a scheduled drug or whether it is an unscheduled drug, in spite of products being in DPCO. So my question, when it is so compliant and when you are having so much of issues with the service provider, why we compromise with the service provider, and why the increase, when you can increase your prices by 10%, why the service provider cannot increase a little bit of pricing where it has been more compliant towards your standard?
1 minute. The 10% increase is not permitted in control products, in the NLEM products.
For the balance 961?
It is permitted, but yes, as we, I think all understand that any organization, maximum cost pressure comes on supply chain. So whether it is passed on the 10% increase, and it is not often taken, it is permitted, but it doesn't mean that it is taken, because if you look at the market and the competition, so more often than not, at least I have seen in our organizations, we often do not end up taking the 10% because, as we said, the pricing is defined not by your cost. It is defined by the average marketing price. So you have to keep in line with what somebody else is offering. So the other person, maybe because of the economies of scale, are able to offer at a lower price. But I cannot compete with that. So I need to maintain my price at the same level. So it's a complex situation, I would say. It cannot be answered in a straightforward answer.
Prescription drugs, normally everyone does. Generic, what you have been saying, I agree to that. In generic, you don't increase the pricing. But in prescription drugs, anyway, every company has been increasing the pricing by 10% year on year. It's an average pricing of top 20 molecules, how you compare the NLEM prices.
As a matter of fact, in India, none of us are in prescription or what you say, the innovator drugs. Right from Sun Pharma down to our friends in Baddi, everyone is a generic player. So let's be very clear. And even if a doctor prescribes, let's say, a brand name of Sun Pharma or Lupin or any other company, I think the dispensing chemist decides, ye wala nahi, ye wala le lo. So it's a more than, it's easier said than done that people will get price increases and you have enough market or brand power that you will be getting more money. I'm not trying to defend, it's just a perspective.
My perspective, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, no more questions, please. With that, give it up with a loud round of applause for them, ladies and gentlemen. Appreciate Mr. Mandar for taking up this lead role as a moderator and for an illuminating discussion on temperature control, transportation, distribution and delivery in the pharmaceutical sector. Today, they have taken us behind the scenes of a world where precision, technology and robust monitoring are the guardians of product integrity, regulatory compliance and ultimately patient safety. Truly, your insights and your engagement have turned complex challenges into actionable strategies for India's evolving pharmaceutical supply chain ecosystem, and it's truly evident. And your guidance, I believe, collective guidance, in fact, will set more new standards, more new highs, more new benchmarks for how India's pharmaceutical supply chains operate with confidence, excellence, and again, as I mentioned, accountability. To honor our esteemed panelists for this session and for their valuable contributions, I invite Mr. Mahesh Rika, Managing Director of Argus Global Logistics, to please grace the stage and felicitate with a token of appreciation of our utmost admiration for this distinguished set of panelists. With a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Mahesh Rika, Managing Director, Argus Global Logistics. With our deepest admiration, we have Mr. Mandar Kulkarni, who took on the lead role as the moderator and is the General Manager for Warehousing and Logistics at India's #1 pharmaceutical company, Sun Pharma. With a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, Mandar Kulkarni. We have the very dynamic Ms. Ashu Gupta, Vice President, Supply Chain Management, 𝐶𝐽 Pharmaceuticals. Give it up for Ms. Ashu Gupta, ladies and gentlemen. We have with us the India Deliver Lead Innovative Medicines, Johnson & Johnson, Mr. Manoj Nolka. Give it up for Mr. Manoj, all of you. We have another industry expert, Mr. Rajesh Srivastava, General Manager and PR in Direct Procurement at Lupin. With a round of applause, please give up a cheer for Mr. Rajesh Srivastava. We have the Senior General Manager, Planning, Logistics, Third Party, Fermenta Biotech, Mr. Arun Kherwal. Give it up for Mr. Arun Kherwal, ladies and gentlemen. There is Vishakha Falak, Head of Procurement at Surya Hospitals, India. Round of applause for Ms. Vishakha. These are the super women's empowering supply chains of today's India. And Lalit Patil, Manager Supply Chain, 𝐓𝐞𝐿 Healthcare. A round of applause for him. Please get her for a group photograph. Yes. Come to the edge of the stage.